The saloon went silent the moment she stepped through the doors. Dust hung in the air like smoke, and the smell of whiskey, gunpowder, and cheap perfume filled the place. The piano player froze mid-note, his fingers hovering above the keys. Every cowboy, outlaw, and drifter turned to look, because no one had ever seen a woman like her walk into that place before. She wasn't dressed like the others who worked the saloon. No painted face, no red silk, no perfume heavy enough to drown regret. Just a simple cotton dress, a bonnet that had seen better days, and in her trembling hands, a small, worn Bible. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then someone laughed. "Well, look at that. The preacher's come to save us." Another man sneered. "Sweetheart, you're in the wrong place." But she didn't flinch. Her eyes, steady but soft, swept across the room until they landed on the man sitting at the farthest table, the one everyone else gave a wide berth. His name was Jack Riker, gunfighter, drifter, killer, some said. The scar along his jawline caught the dim light as he lifted his glass, eyes narrowed in curiosity. She walked toward him. Her boots were clean but dusty, her hands shaking slightly, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "I heard there's a man in this town who doesn't believe in redemption," she said. The room murmured. Jack's eyebrow lifted. "Lady, whoever told you that was right." She looked him dead in the eye. "Then maybe I'm here for you." The laughter that followed was harsh and loud, echoing off the saloon walls. But Jack didn't laugh. He stared at her, really stared, as if something about her quiet fire unsettled him more than a dozen bullets ever could. He leaned back in his chair, smirking. "You came to preach to a man like me?" She nodded. "No, I came to remind you that even a man like you isn't beyond mercy." The air thickened. Men shifted uneasily, not used to seeing anyone talk to Jack Riker that way. He studied her face, the Bible clutched to her chest, the faint trembling in her voice that somehow didn't weaken her words. "You don't know what I've done," he said lowly. "I don't have to," she replied. "Only what you could still become." Something cracked behind his eyes, something he hadn't let himself feel in years. The saloon seemed smaller now, quieter, the sound of her voice pushing through the smoke and shame that had built around his soul. He stood slowly, his chair scraping back, boots heavy on the wooden floor. The crowd watched as he approached her, the outlaw and the preacher's daughter, face to face under the flicker of lantern light. "You're either the bravest woman I've met," he said quietly, "or the dumbest." She smiled gently. "Maybe both." He didn't smile back, but something inside him softened. Later that night, after most of the crowd had gone back to their whiskey and their sins, she found herself sitting across from him. He hadn't touched his drink. For the first time in years, he was sober enough to remember what decency looked like. They talked until the oil lamps burned low, about loss, about guilt, about what it meant to try again. She told him how her brother had died in a gunfight, how she had sworn never to hate a man with a gun again, only to find a way to forgive them instead. Jack listened in silence. When she stood to leave, the Bible still pressed to her heart, he caught her hand. His touch was rough, calloused, hesitant. "You shouldn't come back here," he said. "Then close this place down," she whispered. "Make sure there's no reason for anyone like me to walk through those doors again." He said nothing. She smiled, a quiet, knowing smile, and walked away into the night, the door swinging shut behind her. For a long while he just stood there, staring at the Bible she'd left behind on his table. By morning the saloon doors swung open again, but this time it wasn't whiskey on his table, it was a cup of black coffee. The piano player blinked in surprise. "You quit drinking, Riker?" Jack nodded slowly. "Guess so. Days passed." The woman didn't come back, but her voice stayed with him, the way she had looked at him as if there was still something good buried under all that sin and dust. He started working at the livery, fixing wagons, helping drifters who came through town. People noticed the change but didn't ask questions. Then one Sunday, the church bells rang louder than usual. Jack Riker walked up the dirt road, hat in hand, his boots clean for once. The preacher paused mid-sermon when he saw him. But the woman, Mary, smiled. He sat quietly in the back, eyes lowered, until the service ended. As the crowd filed out, she approached him, her smile soft, eyes warm. "Didn't expect to see you here." He handed her the Bible she had left behind. Figured it was time I gave this back. She took it, then looked down at the fresh initials carved into the inside cover. J.R. You read it? She asked softly. Every night, he said, hoping I could still be worth what you saw in me. She reached out, her fingers brushing his hand. You already are. And in that quiet churchyard, under the open sky of a town that once called him a killer, Jack Riker smiled for the first time in years. He had come looking for peace and found something better, the kind of love that wasn't born in saloons or gunfights, but in grace. She had carried a Bible into the saloon and left carrying his heart.